The future for Call of Duty has some high hopes and expectations associated, especially with this year. I mean, Modern Warfare 2's launch, Warzone 2's launch later this year, and then at some point next year, a rumored free-to-play offering, many of whom considering that to be DMZ, the Tarkov-inspired mode. And while that all seems like a great deal of stuff to look forward to, what about afterwards? What's on the horizon in the post-Modern Warfare 2 launch era? What's on the horizon in the midst of a possible closing of the Microsoft acquisition of Activision? What's the future hold? Today I want to kind of take a look at that and see what we may see on the horizon here, and what the next offerings may look like, and the surprising gaps between them that we may have. As we go along, drop your thoughts below. Are you looking forward to anything in particular out of Modern Warfare 2's era and beyond? Are you hoping to see anything after the launch of the game, after Warzone 2's launch? Whatever the case, drop your thoughts below. If you enjoy the video, you find it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with all things Modern Warfare 2, Warzone and Warzone 2, and beyond, and anything else COD related. If you'd like to stay up to date with all of that while joining us on the road to 500,000 subscribers, I'd love to have you in the community. And finally, a reminder to check out my friends over at Gamer Advantage, the best blue light glasses on the market, but more on them a little later on in the video. That said, let's jump into it. So let's start out basic here. Let's start with the very beginning. What we see in the next year, the next 365 days. Of course, we'll end up having Modern Warfare 2 launch come October 28th, and that is going to offer up a whole ton of content. Campaign, multiplayer, Spec Ops is guaranteed, though DMZ is still up in the air. Nothing has been confirmed nor denied about that, just has not been mentioned at all in any official capacity. So whether or not it launches with Modern Warfare 2 or it comes later on down the line, we don't quite know entirely just yet. There's rumors, but nothing confirmed. That game will bring along a ton in terms of new offerings to the game, new tech, new mechanics, new content offerings, all of that kind of stuff. That is, of course, no brainer here at this. Additionally, we'll end up seeing Warzone 2 in the next 365 days, and actually less than half a year at this point. It was confirmed by Infinity Ward that the game will be coming later this year, which at what point that stands for, that's unconfirmed. Perhaps maybe a Season 1 launch in tandem with that, putting that towards the holiday 2022 segment of the year. But honestly, that kind of worries me, because we of course saw Caldera and the Warzone Pacific launch. That was a disaster of a launch for what I'd wager is honestly the majority of the population playing. Consoles was an absolute mess at the time. PC, I got pretty lucky. I didn't really have too many issues, but it was absolutely apparent that many others were. So if we're launching something that's a brand new offering around that holiday time, if they're going to do that, they have to avoid what happened with Caldera in the Warzone Pacific event, in which everyone at every single studio was on holiday, and those fixes didn't get fixed until the new year. Problems plagued that launch for an entire month. So if you're going to do that, you got to make sure that it's in good hands for launch. So that's something that is confirmed to be coming later this year, again, just the timing of which is unconfirmed. Now, spring 2023 is where we get into our rumor mill territory. That is something that right now DMZ is rumored to go free to play, if it's existing already as an expansion, or maybe just it doesn't launch with Modern Warfare 2 at launch. That's something that then it's rumored to be coming out at that point, though free to play is the current rumor from insiders associated with that. We'll end up seeing how that all plays out. If it is as grand a scale as has been rumored for quite some time, that kind of makes sense as a standalone item. It seemed way too in-depth, way too big of a game and project to be just a side mode within Modern Warfare 2. So that would be something that I would be entirely cool with, giving us a brand new free-to-play offering, something entirely brand new, a new way to play Call of Duty alongside that Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone experiences that we've come to know already. The big question mark, though, after that spring time frame comes then to the fall of 2023. I'd imagine that we get something. Right now, Treyarch's next game is not rumored to be until 2024. So what happens then? Honestly, if I'm giving you a guess, it would probably be some big celebration here for around that 1 year mark of Warzone 2. If we follow the pattern set in motion by Warzone 1, the experience we have right now, it seems like every year or every 6 months or so, we'll end up seeing something larger in terms of offering for content. With Season 1 of Black Ops Cold War, we ended up getting Rebirth Island, the first secondary introduction to the Warzone experience after the game launched in March of that year. However, then a couple of months later, we ended up seeing a transition from Verdansk to Verdansk 84. Then after that, we ended up getting Caldera this past year in December. Again, another 6 to 7 months after that. So we're seemingly on that half-year rotation. So assuming we end up getting something for Warzone 2 on the same sort of intervals, that would then mean that summer to fall would be the first, if not second, introduction for a major content addition to Warzone 2. But would that be all that we end up seeing? Because right now, there admittedly is no rumors pointing towards anything happening at that point, though I can't imagine that, especially Activision, we know they love the revenues, they'd miss out on anything holiday related come that Q3, Q4 era of 2023. So we'll have to wait and see how that all plays out. It has been rumored for quite some time that there's a zombie standalone game happening at some point, but that could just straight up be all rumor. That rumor's been tossed out for years, and the only last recent reference of that, I think, was back in February. But now that it seems like Treyarch is working with Infinity Ward on DMZ, that Treyarch free-to-play experience that was referenced by Jason Schreier a couple of months ago seems to potentially be that DMZ mode. But beyond that, that's where we get some really curious deviations in our path and what to expect here, because 2024 will be another curious year. Whereas we just would be coming off of what is an off year for a mainline title, it's been rumored for a long time that Modern Warfare 2 will get that first 2-year support window of any Call of Duty title in the modern era. But what that means for content quantity, durations of seasons and all, we don't know. But COD 2024 is rumored to be Treyarch's next introduction into the Call of Duty IP, a brand new title and a mainline title at that in 2024. All we have to go off of with this are basic rumors, a near future reboot of Black Ops in the vein of Modern Warfare 2018's soft reboot of Modern Warfare, but being described by insiders as a spiritual successor to Black Ops 2 while utilizing the tech of Modern Warfare's engine. Regardless of where this goes, I'm really curious to see how it will play out gameplay-wise, because it'll be Treyarch's first take on a game on the modified IW8, IW9 engine that we have currently with Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2. Honestly, what I'm really curious to see how it plays out on is zombies, because I know that it might not be everybody's cup of tea, but Shino Numa looked honestly great from an outside perspective, looking at people playing the game, seeing how it looked, how it played is entirely different. Again, some of the fundamental mechanics definitely don't agree with, but it looks dark, it looks gritty, and it looks good if you ask me. But where this 2024 rumor takes a deviation is that insider Ghost of Hope said he ended up hearing an update on this, saying that Treyarch are in the final talks for approval on a 2-year support cycle for their COD 2024 project. The next Call of Duty that comes after that project will be in late 2026. He then followed up by saying unclear as to whether or not COD 2026 will be from Sledgehammer Games or Infinity Ward after the Microsoft acquisition goes through. Lots of moving parts here for the future. Then continuing on a little further, saying that it'll be interesting to see how Modern Warfare 2's 2-year support plays out versus COD 2024's 2-year support. Infinity Ward got it pushed on them out of nowhere in their start of their last year of development for Modern Warfare 2 versus Treyarch going into the project knowing that they'll have 2 years of development for that game. I think that if anything will be different, Treyarch will have even more content planned out for the 2 years because they are aware ahead of time. Infinity Ward have to think up content for year 2 after having 1 year planned out already and make it as this year and next year goes on. So that said, that would be a huge deviation in terms of what we know for Call of Duty, and honestly would be something that would be either good or bad depending on how the next year and a half plays out. I don't think that we can accurately give a description on how we think the next gap year of Call of Duty will go, if it's good or bad for the game, because if we're then 18 months into the support of a single game and we're just entirely bored, there's no content, nobody has any interest, having another gap year would be absolutely something that you don't want to see. So while it is absolutely great to give devs as much time as possible to make a game, for content consumption side of things, it might be something that Call of Duty might be starting to not slip into irrelevancy at that point, but it might not be something that second year can potentially hold stable, let alone having any sort of highs on that with anything to supplement content distribution. So it'll be a very, very interesting window if this does indeed come true, but it seems like potentially Call of Duty could be moving away from the annual releases overall. Not just necessarily this one gap year and then getting back to the year-over-year Call of Duty release. Instead, it could be something that shifts entirely. So that, again, I'd love to hear your thoughts on down in the comment section down below. But the final big part here of that was the Microsoft acquisition. That is something that's been on the table for a couple of months now, but we know very little on this. And honestly, I don't think that we will get a lot out of this until it's basically finalized. That being something that is assumed to be closing sometime next year in 2023. But what does that mean then for the next upcoming games? Well, right now it's all but confirmed that Modern Warfare 2 will not be on Games Pass for those that are interested in that. It doesn't look like we'll end up seeing anything in relation to that game being a Microsoft sort of branded thing, and especially after Phil Spencer, head of Xbox, stated that they would honor any contracts outstanding between Sony and Activision as well. So that means that those rumored next 3 titles that we have as a part of that Sony and Activision deal, that being Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2, and then presumed COD 2024, whatever Treyarch is working on next, that those will still be under that Sony umbrella. So we're likely going to see games after that have the chance of things like Games Pass, but it also could be something that, I mean, Sony's done some shady stuff in the past. They may not let it be coming to Games Pass. It may not be allowed to based off of however that contract is set up. And again, that is something that we likely will not ever see the light of day. That's something that's usually just reserved for those boardrooms, but it could have giant implications on how we end up seeing the games of the future play out. So that said, that is the next couple of years in Call of Duty, and there's a lot of deviations here that make for some really interesting points that only time will tell, but it's certainly curious to ponder right now. So I'd love to get your thoughts and feedback down there in the comment section down below. Do you guys like the idea of multiple 2-year support windows for games? Give developers more time to potentially sacrifice major content launches in those sort of off years. Do you like the idea of that? Maybe not so much. What do you hope to see out of Call of Duty 2024? Whatever the case, drop your thoughts below. But before we wrap everything up, do be sure to check out my friends over at Gamer Advantage. I've sworn by these guys for over a year now at this point. They are the best blue light glasses on the market. If you're somebody that works at a computer constantly, you're gaming, you're making content or anything like that, or even just on your phone for prolonged periods of time during a day, the effects of blue light will absolutely catch up with you. They have caught up with me for doing this content creation thing for years now, and over that time, I've tried so many different pairs of blue light glasses from Amazon and all that kind of stuff that honestly, they just don't work as well as Gamer Advantage. Clinically proven, incredibly comfortable, durable, and lightweight, these glasses are definitely the best on the market, and dare I say, they are espresso's advantage. Too corny? I don't know. But for real, best on the market. If you want to learn more, check out their website, link down there in the description below. And if you guys would like to pick anything up for yourself, consider using code ESPRESSO to net yourself 10% off your entire order. So that said, check them out, but that is where we're going to wrap everything up. So if you guys enjoyed the video, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing running all things Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2, and anything COD in the future. We've got you covered here on the channel. But that said, thanks so much for watching. My name is ESPRESSO. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.